6 years ago, I was in a very bad place. I was standing on a bridge, ready to, excuse the expression, fuck myself in over it, okay? Drink had brought me to that. I had £3 left to my name in my whole life. My home was gone, my job was gone. It was Christmas Eve in Limerick, and I had no place to go Christmas Day, except arranged to go up to the Shannon Rugby Club to go drinking. The drinking culture in the GA is huge, like. There's probably 10,000 young fellas like I was when I was their age. That's what this is about for me now, might as well be honest. I robbed, I stole, I sold jackets off my back, sold my medals. I actually don't have my All-Ireland medal, I don't have my medals. Unfortunately, there are too many people in the hierarchy in the GA that are non-drinkers or are social drinkers, and they don't understand it, and their opinion of somebody like me would be I'm an idiot. The only person that will ever understand what an alcoholic at his lowest feels like is somebody like that was standing on that bridge I was in Limerick Christmas Eve 6 years ago. They were penniless, homeless and jobless, and wanted to jump in over the bridge because drink had taken them to that place that they felt so worthless about themselves. How can a pioneer sitting in the headquarters of the GA in Dublin understand that? I'm Noel Considine, currently the goalkeeping coach with the Wexford Senior, under-20s hurling teams and numerous club teams. I was born in a village called Clarecastle in County Clare, just a couple of miles down the road from Ennis. I didn't grow up in a house where drink was a big issue at all, but I knew my mother hated it. Even when Jo went for his few pints of a Sunday night, the face would be on, you know. I know why now. She'd have her own personal reasons, but she would have seen it as a younger girl. You see, I was playing senior hurling at 15, 16, and I was drinking with adults at 15 or 16, and like everything about my life was older than I should have been. I mean, I didn't turn up for my debs. I went off in the piss, like my own age group guys didn't even want to be with me because I was drinking with older guys. And even then, you know, as regarding starting to meet women and everything, it was older women at the beginning because I was meeting them in the pub. So drink was an issue with me from the minute I started drinking it because it changed my personality. It made me an asshole, basically. It turned me into not a very nice person a lot of the time, and it wasn't always that it turned me into a violent person, but it changed me. It changed me. I mean, if I went out there, hopefully I won't ever know, but if I went out there and drank 2 mouthfuls of alcohol, you 2 guys would know by me when I'd come in. It would change my expression, it would change my... Just drink didn't suit me. So from an early stage, from day one, I was in trouble with drink. There are 2 types of problem drinker in my eyes. There's the person that drinks too much, which I became. And then there's a person who can't drink or can't hold it, which I was at the beginning. Can you imagine a young lad of 17 years of age drinking 15 pints and 4 glasses of whiskey with adults? It just drives me queer. Like, I used to go home and cause trouble to my parents. I used to go home and be argumentative and rowdy and stupid. And I was dried out 9 times before I was 21 in Our Lady's Hospital in Ennis. I actually left Our Lady's Hospital of a Thursday before an under-21 final to play with my club. And only the manager of the Clarecastle team knew where I came out of to play the match. I've had my issues in life with alcohol and I suppose at times not feeling great about myself, but the only time I've ever in my life felt 100% comfortable in my own skin is when I'm standing inside in the goal. I mean, I remember in '93 we won an All-Ireland with Clare, Junior All-Ireland in Croke Park, and I 50,000 at it. I was inside in goal that day, so comfortable in my own skin because I knew it was the one place in my life. I was damn good at it. There was very few better, and I knew it's just me. And it might sound so weird from an adult of 51 to be saying that, but I just always felt so comfortable inside in that goal. It was my little home, and that's why I have such an obsession even with coaching goalkeepers. And I mean, if you go down to my house, there's a picture of Hope Solo, the American national soccer goalkeeper, a big picture of her on the wall, goalkeeper again. Just something about it. It kind of has probably defined my life, really. Like, if you ask anybody that has ever been involved in my life from day one to today, lovely fella, only for the drink.
Sounds right.
I was a binge drinker, you see. I wasn't a constant drinker. So nobody knew when the next time was going to be. And that was fine that they not known, but you know who didn't know? I didn't know.
Sounds right.
I remember one Saturday in 1992, Aaron was only a year, and Cathy asked me to go to town to pick up, he had a bad eczema, to get goat's milk for him. And I went to town for the goat's milk, all right.
Soundstripe.
I came home 5 days after via the Willie Clancy Festival. Wasn't that great? I no more left that house that day, lads, to go drinking. It just, the minute it took over. To answer your question, was there anyone looking out for me? Yes, my parents, like, I broke their heart. I went to AA. People tried to help me, but you see, I always wanted to stop because I knew it was
Soundstripe.
I knew it was destroying my life, and it was, as much as it was destroying my life, okay, that was my choice, to let it destroy my life. But I didn't have the right to destroy my ex-partner Kathy's life, fabulous woman, my son's life, my mother's life, my father's life, my sister's life. I had a young brother. Like, it was being brought into their life and they didn't deserve it or they didn't want it. It was torture. It was torture for everybody. It was torture for myself as well, because I honestly didn't know. I wasn't able to keep down a job. Like, damn good car salesman. I've sold more cars than probably most guys that ever went into the game. But I've been in a lot of garages and I've worked in like a why. I wouldn't say I was being sacked out of that many of them, but I always knew when to move on because I knew it would be coming. And like, some of the things I did to stay drinking, like, God help us. I robbed, I stole, I sold jackets off my back, sold watches, sold rings, sold my medals, sold my hurling medals. I don't have them. I actually don't have my All-Ireland medal. I don't have my medals. Would have been on the piss for a week or 10 days and ran short of money and no other ways of getting it. So, was I a good son? No. Was I a good father? Oh, I'd have said I was, yeah. No. I was really good to nobody. Really good to nobody. I was kind of an old animal existing, you know. I know, oh, poor Noel, it affected my life, but Jesus, I had a lot of good times in it, like. I was the one that was off wine, women and songing, you know. They were the ones that were at home picking up the pieces. Just to tell you some of the things you do to get money for drink, like, as I said, there's John Wayne stories I won't tell you. I remember being in London one time in the 80s. I went over to play hurling over there, illegally. Woke up the next morning in an old bench somewhere, in a park somewhere. I was underneath the bench and he was over at leaves, covered in leaves. Not enough money to get back to the side of London I was going to. It was up in Hackney, up to where my aunt had a place up there, and I knew I had money up there and a change of clothes and whatever. So there was a cafe across the road from where we woke up in the bench, or in the park. And then we go in and have 2 cups of coffee. It was barely what we had enough money for. And I said to the girl inside in the cafe, I said, is there any chance you'd give us that little box up behind you there? It was a box about that size. And your man was looking at me and said, the man that was with me, what? I said, we'll go over and we'll fill these with leaves now. I said, and we're going down to Madame Tussauds. Got down to Madame Tussauds. And as it does of a Sunday morning, the tourists were starting to gather. Just told your man shut his mouth and let me do the talking. Walked around and I started handing leaves out to everybody. I said, in honour of the great servicemen that died for Britain, feel free to donate to their families. I raised 390 quid. That was 1988, in about an hour handing out leaves. Jesus, we were in the piss for a week with it. So just tell you some of the things you'll do to get money for drink. And they're the John Wayne stories that I kind of went around the pubs telling everybody. Another time I sold a leather jacket 3 times above at the Willie Clancy Festival and went home with the jacket to get old bullshit like that I thought were great stories, you know. That's one side of it. The other side of it was being on that bridge, ready to end it all. So I moved into Limerick, and I was on my own living in Limerick, and my binge drinking became every evening. I was going up to the Woodfield house just above the Gaelic grounds every evening after work, and sure, I was the life and soul of the party. I was always going in, I had plenty of money, I was always well dressed, good appearance, coming in the nice car. And there's a nice clientele going in there as well, you know, and the old sing-songs just be great. And at this stage I wasn't able to drink pints anymore, and my drink would have been vodka and Diet Coke. You know the pub bottles of Diet Coke, the small ones? I was drinking 8 vodkas to a bottle of Diet Coke. So basically, I was only water in it. And I was doing 3 bottles of Diet Coke a night. That was 24 vodkas every night, and a couple of bottles of beer just to help me pee, because the spirits you won't pee. That's what I was at every night. I was gone yellow. So by the end, I was 6 months on. Yeah, I was working every day and selling 10, 12 cars a week. So I was earning very good money, as you can imagine. But obviously, the outgoings were starting to exceed the income, because I mean that's expensive to keep that drinking going. Because I only ever drank in a pub. I was only a pub drinker. I've never drank at home. I wouldn't be one now for having a bottle in my bag or anything, It was all pub drinking. So you can imagine it was pretty expensive. And also, I suppose I always liked nice clothes, and there had to be a bit of clothes bought, and I had to be rent paid, and I had to eat as well a bit, hadn't I? But so the outgoings were starting to exceed the income. So near the end, I had approached money lenders in Limerick, and I borrowed a few quid as well, and to keep me going. But I knew the beginning of the end was coming. Like there are lots of John Wayne stories I could have told in that 6 months, wine, women, and song. I won't, okay, because that would be boasting, right? But what brought me to the end, I suppose, I knew everything was starting to close in around me. That Christmas Eve, I'd been drinking all day Christmas Eve, and it was the first Christmas Eve ever I hadn't spent with Aaron, my son. Now, people come and go in your life, and they always will, and they'll come and they'll go and they'll stay, or some of them, if you're lucky enough, some of them will stay. But like, he's my only son, and he is my life. Like, and it was the first Christmas Eve ever I hadn't spent with him and his mother. We always went off shopping Christmas Eve, and all day that was kind of niggling at me a bit. But sure, the more vodka I was putting into myself, and she'd be going around from pub to pub around Limerick, and I was known all over Limerick, sure, and I'd be kind of the life and soul of the place in a lot of ways, and everyone knew me. And you see, I was clever enough as well. I was never staying in the one pub for them to see I was a drunk. Now, a few of them told me after they knew I was a drunk, but I'd have 3 here and 3 there and 3 here and 3 there, and moving along, But I was walking out over Sarsfield Bridge about 6 o'clock. Had bought no presents, nothing. There was a husband and wife and 2 kids coming, all holding each other's hands with their shopping. And it was the same as if somebody gave me a kick in the head. I just stood and I burst out crying. And I said, "What are you at, lad? This is not what you should be doing." And I stood on the bridge and I was bawling, crying. And for 20 seconds, I wanted to go in over it. Now, if you go in over the bridge in Limerick, Christmas Eve, it's goodbye. But I went down on my knees and I looked up and I said, "Dad, if you're up there," or Josie, that was my grandmother, I said, "Will you just get me out of this one and I'll do something about it for once and for all." And something got me away from the bridge. Now, I didn't stop drinking that evening. I went out to the Woodfield house. I know I had only €3, but look, if you're known, you'll get one, right? And I spent all day Christmas Day drinking above at the Shannon Rugby Club. I won't say all day, but a good bit of it. And then I got a bit of dinner in the house and drank away until the 6th of January. And I went into Bushy Park the 7th. That's when things turned around for me, thank God. Like, Aaron is very proud of me and I'm very proud of him. But I'm sure I was embarrassing the young fella. Like, what was he hearing? He was hearing from his friends I was around Innis with this one, that one, the other one. And, he was around with this one tonight and that one tomorrow night. And he was, just you hear the stroke your father pulled to get money, the big story. Or he sold the car inside in the pub at 500 quid profit to get the 500 quid deposit to go drinking. Like, it was embarrassing Aaron, because Aaron isn't like me. Aaron isn't talkative and isn't outgoing. Aaron is very private and he's like his mother. And I was embarrassing the young fella. He certainly wouldn't have been proud of me that time. And you know what? He didn't deserve to be. But him turning his back on me, when I said turning his back on me, wanting nothing to do with me that time was a big thing, because they'll all come and they'll go, but he has to be in my life.
And what's the relationship like now, if you don't mind me asking?
With Aaron, it's excellent. Well, 5 years ago last January, this little creature appeared in our lives, Aaron's daughter Ava. Oh, now there's my world. Oh, Jesus, stop. She wraps me around her finger. And I kind of swore she was never going to see what her father saw. Thankfully, she hasn't. And then, I get a bit upset when I think of, like, Aaron saw things that he shouldn't have seen, and it wasn't, Aaron wouldn't have ever really seen me coming home causing trouble or wrecking the house or coming home being abusive, but he saw an awful lot of me not coming home. Like, you go missing for 10 days. He told me after, like, that, well, they didn't know whether I was dead or alive. They didn't know when they'd hear something on the radio or the television, was the person killed me, or was I after killing somebody, or was I after hitting somebody with a car, or when my phone was off for a week. Like, I justified my behaviour by saying, sure, I'm not going home causing trouble. Sure, I didn't go home. How did my ex-partner, how did Kathy feel about that? I'm not coming home for 10 days. I never saw that. I was fooling myself. Aaron's relationship with me was always very good. He washed his hands of my behaviour for that 6 months, and I don't blame him. It's the best thing ever because I needed him to. Because, like, Aaron is more important to me having my life than drink will ever be. He never caused that much trouble, you know, and like he was a fantastic hurler. The pleasure I got out of watching him playing hurling was, stop, you couldn't buy that. Like, there was no feeling the drink ever gave that was like that feeling, you know. I kind of value everything I have today. I mean, I've this gorgeous little cottage out in the country now, and I've 3 fabulous German Shepherds, 3 fabulous dogs, and last year when what went wrong in my life went wrong, they were all I had to come home to for 6 months. So those dogs will never know what they did for me. There was nights that I didn't feel very good about myself, but you know what? I came back after the trip to Wexford, and it could be 1 o'clock or 10 past 1 in the morning, and Bod, my big German Shepherd, was at the gate, and then Cara and Shadow, the 2 women, they're brother and sister by 3 different litters, but they loved me unconditionally no matter what, and I'm all they have. And you know what? Even if I didn't feel great about myself, those 3 made me feel good about myself, just to come in and put them into bed. And I had to come home to them, because there was nights I didn't want to go home to that house of my own. Pioneers, they know sweet feck all about drink. They think they do, and anybody that drinks too much is only an idiot. Like, particularly a lot of the hierarchy in the GA, they never drank. There's all these movements, and there's all these programs, but they're not being run by the right people, because the people that are given those jobs don't understand. Like, nobody understands an alcoholic like an alcoholic. It's even like being in a treatment centre. The counsellors I would have related to the most were ex-addicts themselves. But in the GA, getting back to what you're saying, the culture is hillbilly. They have they need to get, and I'm not saying people like me. Yes, I am saying people like me. Somebody that understands, and somebody that can go in there and not be judgmental, and not be. Unfortunately, there are too many people in the hierarchy in the GA that are non-drinkers or are social drinkers, and they don't understand it. And their opinion of somebody like me would be, I'm an idiot. Okay, and so how can they help somebody that has a problem? Like I got zero help regarding the drinking, only that I was an idiot, and that, oh, we don't want that fucker, he'd let him off and we'll drop him. And like, they went off to London in 1987, right? After we win, and I gone a long way to helping them win the senior championship in 86, right? They refused to bring me because I was going to be trouble. I was a young fella, right? Where was the help there? Where was, rather than someone putting their arm around the guy and saying, we'll help this guy out? People that don't understand that an addiction is a problem that nobody wants in their life, and the person that has it is not an idiot, you know, that doesn't just need a kick up the backside and say, and to handle them properly, and to give them the opportunity to help themselves anyway. They can have all these programs all they like, and all this alcohol awareness speeches, and like, I've been at a couple of them, but the people that are giving them don't understand either, because they're reading it out of a book. You know, like, the only person that will ever understand what an alcoholic at his lowest feels like is somebody like that was standing on that bridge I was in Limerick Christmas Eve 6 years ago, that their whole world had collapsed, that their home was gone, their job was gone, and wanted to jump in over the bridge because drink had taken them to that place that they felt so worthless about themselves, and that they just saw no way out. How can a pioneer sitting in the headquarters of the GA in Dublin understand that? And then to try and get the young lads and the young people in the GA to maybe understand that. They need people that have been there to, and I'm pretty strong on that one. Maybe I'm not putting this across very well, but I know what I'm trying to say.